So animals in film are usually able to talk or act oddly human in some way. I wasn't expecting a talking dog in Good Boy, and just in case you're wondering, there isn't. I'm not sure what I was expecting here, but what I got was something I'd never seen before. So let's talk about it here on the Film Podcast. I've just seen Good Boy, which is a horror film. All right, so before we go any further, let's get out of here because it's busy. It's Saturday night, busiest night of the week, and we can talk about Good Boy because, well, interesting. So Good Boy is a horror film. In my view, those are always the most varied movies. Loads of different storylines, loads of different scenarios, situations, whatever you want to call it, you can put into a horror film, and it can be scary. It can be exciting, it can be exhilarating, it can be all of those things. But one thing that horror films lack these days, I think, certainly the newer breed of horror films, give or take a few, is tension. Tension is something that's missing from a lot of modern horror films. And I guess that's because at the expense of cheap thrills or cheap scares, albeit good scares, tension is something that is left out. It's not there. And I'd say that something like Good Boy definitely has its fair share of tense moments. Another word that I'll use to describe this film is eerie. A while back, I did a review of a movie called Presence. Now, nobody really went to see Presence. And it's a shame because Presence was a pretty good film from a perspective of building up its scares. You know, I think Good Boy earns its scares by building its tension. I think Good Boy is perfectly okay with what it's trying to do. And what it's trying to do is it's trying to give its central character, which is a dog, agency, and it's also trying to make you on its side. They do character development on a dog in a horror film, and I've never seen that before. I think from the very first second the film starts, you're already on the dog's side, and I think that's quite something. They do character development on a dog. I mean, oh my God. There's a movie called Alone No More, which I did a review of like a few months ago now. It's a Cantonese movie, and it does feature a dog. It features an absolutely incredible dog. A dog that I said at the time should have been entered into the Oscars for Best Actor. Well, you know what? I have found another nominee right here in this film, Good Boy. All right, so one of the big questions about horror films, and particularly supernatural horror films, is this movie scary? Well, yeah, it's a slow burn. I mean, it's a slow burn. It's like a boiling kettle is what it is. It starts off, everything's calm, everything's fine. You know, it gets warmer and warmer, and you get tenser and tenser, and then it just builds up to this thing. But unlike other horror films that you see, which build up and go completely mad at the end, it doesn't do that. But at the same time, it does do that. You've seen all this happen. You've seen all this stuff go on in horror films, you know, screaming and writhing everywhere and all of that kind of thing. I mean, that's a staple of supernatural horror films these days. What I'm after is, I'm after a film that doesn't do that, that hasn't got that stuff in it. This doesn't have that stuff in it. In fact, one thing this film does have, it's got little tiny parts amongst the scenery and amongst some of the things that you see in it, things that you don't notice at first. What I mean by that is, you know, those things in the background, it's got that in it. It's well thought about, you know, everything's pretty much told from the point of view of the dog in this. And that means that the camera is always low down. It's always low. It's always beneath everything. So everything's got this kind of weird angle to it. And it builds the tension because you're kind of looking up at everything, which is weird. It's disorientating to do that. Because we're seeing everything from the point of view of the dog, things look bigger. They surround you a bit more, just staring out at nothing from that low down angle. You know, they've got a wide angle lens on the camera and the entire room is there and you can see it all. And you're just looking around the frame. Nothing's happening. And you're waiting for something to happen. And it builds up the tension inside you. And that's what makes you kind of uneasy. That's what makes you feel on edge. And in the few times that something does happen, it's terrifying, to be fair. It's terrifying. And you get glimpses, you get tiny glimpses of things. It's really, really great. This is a well-constructed movie. This movie has got a lot going for it. And it has the number one thing going for it that I didn't expect, to just absolutely love the main character. Because the main character's a dog. And dogs are amazing. And this dog is super amazing. Doggy Oscars, Best Actor. All right, let's talk a little bit about Good Boy, the story, and who's in it. You've got a guy called Todd, and he's suffering from, I suppose you can call it a lung disease or some sort of illness, respiratory thing. And he lives in his apartment in New York. And, you know, the film opens with our main character, who is Indy, the dog. You know, we just basically immediately go in there looking at it from the dog's point of view, from Indy's point of view. We kind of see this odd shot where we got the dog, and then behind the dog is a kind of shadow. It's a shadow. And you don't know what that is. You don't see it at first, and then you watch it, and it cuts back to the dog, and it lingers on the shot of the dog for longer than you'd think. And that's because it's waiting for you to spot that weird shadow in the background. I'm like, this is not a spoiler because this is the beginning of the film. We learn that essentially Todd, as I say, he's got this illness, he's not well. And his sister's on the phone. His sister is called Vera. You've got the dog Indy, Todd, and Vera all kind of in this scene, but kind of not in this scene. He basically decides enough is enough. He's fed up of the big city. He decides to go and move to his granddad's rural retreat in the woods. And you know, it's always in the woods, isn't it? It's always in the woods. But Vera is concerned not only about Todd's health, but she's also concerned by the fact that he's decided to go and live in the granddad's house because, you know, the family legend is that that house is haunted, and some of the horrible things that happen there, particularly to the granddad, it's a thing that's known about in the family. So she's every right to be worried, but he doesn't care. You know, Todd's not bothered. Him and Indy go there for some peace and quiet and to try and focus on health and getting better and feeling good. But unfortunately, this is a horror film, so, you know, oh well. So we may as well talk about who's in it. There's not many characters, and I mean not many characters. Oh my God, there's not many people in this film at all. You've got, obviously, Indy himself. I mean, look at him, he's gorgeous. Indy is there, my favourite actor in the whole movie. Indy, amazing stuff. He plays himself. Todd is played by Steve Jensen. I've never seen him in anything before, and, you know, you kind of don't really see much of him either, if you know what I'm saying. Vera is Todd's sister, and we don't really see much of her either. We kind of hear her on the phone, but she's the sort of voice from above kind of thing. She's on the phone, which means that she's detached from everything, and she's the sort of voice of sense and reason. I guess you can say that. Todd's grandfather does show up, albeit on like sort of videotape. You know, they do that as well. You've got the whole freaky videotape thing going on. Todd's grandfather is played by Larry Fessenden. And you got the neighbor guy. He you know, the hunter guy, you know, watch out for the traps, all of that kind of thing. Played by Stuart Rudin. So not many people, like 5 people. and none of them are really in it that long anyway, apart from Todd. Let's carry on and let's round this up, because we don't need to talk too much about this one, because I just think that this is one of those movies that you shouldn't really talk about. You shouldn't talk about. But what you should do is you should tell people that it's worth going to see. And that's true. And it's a very, very indie film. It's a really indie film. It's very low budget. But you know what? What they do with that tiny budget is really impressive. And it's really interesting. And it's really fun as well. And as I always say on this channel, it's always good to go and see a film like this with other people, you know, in a cinema. Not necessarily going with somebody else, but sitting in a cinema with other people. That collective experience. When things get scary, people's reactions are great. This has got some jump scares in it. I jumped 2 or 3 times. Not the kind of jump scares that startle you. It's more the kind of jump scares that scare you, you know, that give you that horrible feeling. I mean, the director's done a good job. I think this is a first-time director as well, so it's like, oh my God, what he's achieved with this is phenomenal. I mean, he's done a great job. He has done a great job. All right, we pulled over again because we need to talk about the director. It's a fiercely independent film, this. It's been picked up by Shudder and it's been made by IFC. It's got all the hallmarks of something that has been brewing in someone's mind for such a long time. They put it all together and they made this film, and it features a dog, and it's just unique and interesting. It's directed by Ben Leonberg, and it's his debut, essentially. It's also co-written by him and a guy called Alex Cannon. As I mentioned before, it's all kind of shot from the point of view of the dog, and not in that gimmicky way, just that it's all low angle. So it makes everything look encroaching and sort of just like everything's got that ominous feeling about it. That's done not just from the framing, but also from the whole atmosphere that this film brings with it. It's Halloween soon, right? And we've got to be aware of the build up to Halloween. So, you know, if you want to go and see something in the cinema that's going to scare the pants off you, then maybe this isn't the film for you. But if you want to go and see something that's going to creep you out, then this is the film for you. And again, like I say, going to see this type of thing on a big screen, in a cinema with other people who want to be scared, when jump scares happen and you've got a crowd of people in a cinema, nothing has a better feeling than everybody else going, "Ah!" And this film's got some of those moments in it. Definitely 100%. And if you go along for the ride, if you let it take you, then it's going to reward you with a great experience. Good Boy is a great film, and I'd say that it's worth seeing because it's Halloween. But I'd also say that it's worth seeing because it's a really good film as well. And that's why I'm talking about it here on the channel. This is a short review, and this is kind of all I need to say. I don't want to spoil this at all. This is a very, very independent movie, and it's a movie that you should give your hard-earned money to. If you're going to go and pay money for something, pay money to see this, because this is the kind of thing we need to encourage more of. Great atmosphere, great idea, great execution, just a great film all round. It's called Good Boy, and it's available everywhere, and you should go and see it. Not just because it's Halloween, but because it's pretty damn good. Okay, right. Thank you for joining me on this mini tiny review. It's been a pleasure. I've really enjoyed going to see this film, and I'm going to say now that you should go and see it as well. So thank you for joining me on the Film Podcast. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you again next time.